Hi, I'm Jill McCloy from Jill McCloy Designs, and I'm here today to show you one of my favorite things, which is coloring on fabric. I use Prismacolor colored pencils. They're wax based, which means when you iron after you've done your drawing, the wax sets the color in. So here we go. If you look at this little sample, you can see that this rose was embroidered right on this yellow fabric, and all of this was pale yellow, but I've colored it in to give it a little more interest. And on this sample, these pieces look dimensional, but they were just flat fabric that I've shaded in. So I'm going to show you some basic shading techniques. And I'm going to start with this rose, which is the same as the rose in the center. I've used a fine point Pigma pen to trace this for the camera mostly, because at home I use a friction pen, which I like a lot. So you want to think about where things are darkest on a flower. So they're going to be darkest down in the shaded part of the petal that's at the base. And if you don't like your colors, you can color over them. So you just want to put shading in a few places. And this shading goes in two directions out from that little line. And if you notice, I'm scribbling. I'm not drawing, I'm scribbling, because you don't want any hard defined lines. So see how it's starting to show a little shape? And then we can switch to a lighter color and bring that lighter color out. And while I'm coloring, let's talk a little bit about what I've done with the fabric. There's stabilizer on the back. There are three main stabilizers that I use. Now see how the colors are blending? The lighter color is like a blending pencil, and it brings the colors together. And I want to leave a little bit of yellow in there for interest. And just keep moving. Keep that pencil moving. Scribble, make little circles, but you just want to keep moving. That's what keeps you from getting hard lines. Now I can take a white pencil and give a little highlight out here, which will brighten the flower up. It doesn't show a huge amount on the yellow, but see how it just brightens that edge? And then you can scribble back and forth here to bring that color out. So that's the basics for the petals. Keep scribbling, use stabilizer on the back of your fabric, and I have three stabilizers here. Here's a knit stabilizer. If I'm doing a lot of embroidery, I like the knit because the knit helps you hide the knots, which is another reason why I like to color before I do the embroidery, because you don't want to go over a bump and have that show. This is a woven. The woven, and they're all iron-on interfacings. The woven, it gives you a smoother texture. It's more like the fabric you're working on. So if I'm not doing a lot of embroidery, I like to use the woven. And then this is very common for people that do a lot of garment sewing, and it's the non-woven iron-on interfacing, and that's pretty smooth. But see the bumps on the back? Those bumps will show if you don't hold the iron on as long as the manufacturer tells you. They won't completely melt. So you want to be careful about that. Let's do a little bit of green back on the rose. And then I want to show you, whoops, I picked a petal. Let's switch. Now, and that's an interesting thing. So if you do a color wrong, it's not really wrong, because if you look at nature and you look at flowers, they'll be green and there'll be other colors. See how this green looks like it wouldn't go? Well, we're going to use a very light green and blend those two together, and it adds a lot of interest. This would be much more difficult to do. See how the white brightens that? And let's get a little bit of the dark back down on the base there. And there you have it. So visit my website, www.jillmcloydesigns. Thank you very much.